What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 5 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Hellbeard Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we suddenly but inevitably attacked the forces of Khorne as the Blooded Wanderers lost several armies and settlements, including Skulltaker himself, in being brought down. Now that said, they're not the only ones who lost their legendary lord, as Mr. Abnagg Hellbeard foolishly took the artifact of the Helm of Driska, put it on his head, and was promptly wounded by the, I don't know, backlash or whatever magics the thing has. He's wounded for 16 turns, but he is alive, so there we do have that going for us. In terms of what we got to do this time around, we got to keep pressing Khorne before they can recover. Fortunately, by the looks of it, we should be able to take 2 settlements and then proceed to Walletall immediately after, and afterwards we will decide where we'll want to move. So, let's start with Mr. Izdubar. Ooh, actually, wait, there's 2 things I want to do. Shlanwapek, I believe I wanted to build the defensive structure here, the Fane Guard, and if we're moving further and further away from the HUNTSMARSHAL's expedition, because we can't afford to lose Talantula because it has that ogre building, because it guarantees us ogre allies effectively, we are not going to risk losing it, and therefore we'll build that structure there. Actually, speaking of ogres, well, it looks like no defensive alliance as yet with the Gold Tooth, unfortunately, but hopefully it'll be a possibility. Huh, interesting. So you don't have any sort of friendliness towards us for being allied with all of the ogre factions that you're trading with? It's a little bit curious. General. Also, I always see the Chosen here, and I keep thinking that they're going to be a Chaos faction, but oh well. And we'll fix it, Hopefully we can get some more of those considered Overseer Lords. Anyway, Izdubar, I do believe you're heading down to Ashlodal. Hopefully you don't immediately get attacked by lizards after, and we'll fight this little tiny battle, I guess, just to reduce the casualties, while Rugni Unzaled will move to besieging Chakwa here. So did I build that defensive structure? I did, right? I intended to. I'm just gonna hope I did. Alright, this one will warrant to fight the 2 Gorby's chariots, 2 spawn of Khorne, and the blood shrines all together are gonna be nasty, if nothing else, but then there's all of these piles of chaos warriors and such. Definitely gonna be an iffy fight. Fortunately, though, we do have a few things going for us. First of all, I did say I wanted to upgrade these 2 anti-large wolf raiders to the cavalry, or the archer variant, because they can double dip more. Granted, it loses their anti-large bonuses, which would come in handy against all those chariots and such, but nonetheless. Alright, like so. Then the other thing is, Gordas has reached rank 10, which means he now has Get the Gits, which means 3 summons of Hobgoblin Cutthroats, though, you know, it is at 120 seconds cooldown, so you may not get all of them out. You, Harok, will move in to reinforce, and we will level the Overseer and then strike. Actually, is there really anything to level? I guess we could start on Harsh Master. We'll also want to grab Fervent Fodder in this particular army as well, because you're the Bellicose guy, right? Yeah, you're the guy that's leading this. And you will always be together with Gordas. You, in the meantime, can go into raiding stance and raid these guys a little bit. Not much, but, you know, better than nothing. And I do believe that's all we got. So, let's start with the bigger fight and move on to the smaller one after. This should be an interesting one. Away we go. Huh. Whatever he said this time around seemed louder than normal. Interesting. He was excited about something. I'm excited for this battle, however, as the Khornates have generally been pretty darn fun to fight, and there's a lot more Chaos Warriors of Khorne than Bloodletters this time around, which means a lot more units that are not very fragile with their heavy armor and heavy anti-infantry capabilities, and we're going to have to do our best to deal with them. Anyway, we are going to wait a little bit for 2 reasons. Our reinforcing lord is extraordinarily slow with 32 move speed and starting over on the other side of the map, so we're waiting for him to get to us, but it will allow us to summon a few of those Hobgob Cutthroats on the map from Mr. Gordas. In the meantime, though, we can start harassing the enemy army with the Oglacon's Wolf Boys and the newly upgraded Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders. There we go, and those Gorby's chariots are irritating and difficult to deal with, so they are going to be the main target here. The first of the Gorby's chariots, the other one is unfortunately for us over on the right flank. We do deploy our Hobgob or Oglakon's wolf boys over on the right flank in case the chariots do manage to charge us, as they are anti-large. Actually, oh wait, are they anti-large? I just assumed. Yes they are. They still retain the anti-large. Good for them. Anyway, the wolf chariots, or chariots of Khorne rather, unfortunately for the enemy, are too slow at 50 movement speed thanks to the flammable on them, and actually down to 39 move speed thanks now to the poison from the bolt throwers. I suppose a decent unit to combine with the range units, slow the enemy down while they keep annoying them, but just look at the amount of punishment the single unit is taking. A lot of resources to damage it, but luckily, like our own Chaos Dwarfen units, the majority of the Khornate units are going to be rather slow, and it gives us time to irritate these Gorby's chariots. Alrighty, and then just back off because we know they can't reach us. Alright, down to about 30% of their HP, and it looks like they are going to turn. I believe that's them routing, yes? Yes, it is. Though, perhaps we might not be able to actually destroy the unit, and therefore we might have to deal with them again. But it is what it is. Alright, come on, at least destroy one more. Somebody. Anybody at all. Apparently not. Alright, well, what can you do? The enemy is moving towards us now with all of their units. The Furies in particular are going to be something to watch out for, as we don't want them landing upon our range. But at the same time, what we also don't want is to expend our precious precursor weapon ammunition from our sneaky gets on them. So, gotta be careful about that. As usual, we send the Goblin Laborers forward to take a bunch of arrows to the face. And it does look like a single Chaos Chariot of Khorne attempts to move over on the right flank, but we'll get torn to shreds rather quickly. Thank you. Alrighty, and we also send one of our Hobgoblin Cutthroat units summoned to be sacrificed, while the second unit of Gorby's chariots closes the distance, and they get a very nice charge, mowing down both Hobgoblin Cutthroats and Sneaky Gets, and doing about 30% damage to both of the units. We'll leave the summoned Cutthroats there to distract them, while we back the rest off and charge in more Hobgoblin Sneaky Gets, just to have them focus their dagger throwing down on those units. These slow-moving Khornate infantry are very much on the way, eating many a arrow, but by and large ignoring them, as we don't have a lot of armor piercing on those Hobgob archer units. And we're just going to have to deal. Also trying our best to focus down those spawn of Khorne. We don't want those meatball explosions to damage our units. Unfortunately, once again, the alpha damage from the Sneaky Gets comes off. The enemy lord is in the meantime definitely in trouble, down to about 25% of his HP, but we'll close the distance with one of the Sorcerer Prophets, which may see the Sorcerer Prophet take a fair bit of damage, as they shouldn't be fighting in melee. They are not quite as fighty as Chaos Sorcerer Lords, I would say. Or even Chaos Sorcerer Heroes. Well, you can build them to be very, very fighty Chaos Sorcerer Heroes. But anyway, I digress. The enemy's second, or is it third spawn, whichever it is, moves on in with about 10% HP to join the 10% HP Lord that is still fighting. The spawn drops and the Lord rushes on out of there. Lovely. The bounce bow shifts to about 70% in our favor, and we're still working away at the Gorby's chariots and the Blood Shrines of Khorne, while we have now engaged the enemy Chaos Warriors. Here, a unit of Halberdiers will be facing off against 3 units of Sneaky Gets at the same time, completely surrounded by them, but making one of them waver and severely damaging the other, while fighting the third. Magnificent. Oh, those poor Sneaky Gets, but we gotta commit a lot of resources to bring down a single Chaos Warrior of Khorne, and I've said it before, but I do love winning fights against elite units by sending trash mobs to overwhelm them. And that, by the looks of it, is what's happening here. The Chaos Warriors of Khorne are down to half HP, and they are shaken, though they have killed 110 of our number. The same thing is happening to the rest of the enemy Chaos Warriors, and where we can, we do drop a couple of spells on them, and maybe a couple of wolves as well, as the Ogre Khans will always charge in at the same time as a unit of Sneaky Gets. Nope, these are Cutthroats, smashes into the enemy back line. With that, by the looks of it, the enemy lords are gone, their single entities are destroyed, and the Chaos Warriors will shatter, giving the battle to us, at the cost of like 60-70% HP on most of our mainline infantry units, but certainly worth it. Definitely some great melee fighting there. Ooh, alrighty, there we go. Certainly a close victory. Also lovely to see those Chaos Warriors of Khorne showing what they're made of. I believe one of the units with halberds, mind you, not even with dual axes, was taking on 3 units of hobgoblins, thinking it's surrounding them from every direction, and killing just droves of them. It was fantastic. We did also nearly lose one of our demon smith sorcerers to a partial combination of getting damaged by enemies and a miscast or two, but it does look like he survives. Definitely a close one, and we'll definitely need a few more things in this army. But anyway, we will occupy the place, I believe, is factory. I want to say this place has either wood or iron. I wish I had checked prior. I hope I'm not wrong. Occupies factory? It has wood. Okay, yes, I am right about that. And now we got the ash level here. Actually, frankly, with this bordering the lizards as it does, this is probably a good thing. And let's actually build a factory guardhouse here as well, so that the place can more easily defend itself. Fencer's blades, very nice find. Harok Morgrimaz, you can hold on to this for now, though. Well, yeah, it'll definitely go to one of these guys. The other one has the equivalent, essentially, to Sword of Battle. I guess maybe we should trade them because you're actually leading an army right now. Fair enough. We will make good use of that Forbidden Rod. Let's grab you that Fencer's Blades, please. What else do we have here, incidentally? Opal Amulet could be useful. We don't have enough casters yet to give everybody casting items, unfortunately, but we will eventually. Alright, is there anything else we need to do this turn prior to the next little attack? Although that one will be rather quick, I'm sure. How much money would you give us for this alliance? Nah, I was hoping it would be more, and thereby would make it worth it. Tree Hammers are another ogre faction, I take it. Oh, are they the ones that are in the moot, perhaps? Perhaps, and oh wow, Blooded Wanderers really want peace now. But we can't ally with Chaos, and they're gonna have to die. Like I said, we're gonna bind those demons to serve our purposes. Alrighty, I guess we gotta fight this one real quick. At least this time we do have some Chaos Dwarfs, but at the same time we don't have hobgobs that can fight. We just got a bunch of garbage gob laborers. Go. Alright, I feel like that Great Taurus is annoyed at having to hover amongst the trees like that. But anyway, here we go, just a small fight in some ways. I mean, technically speaking, we have a full stack, but a full 10 of those full stack units are garbage units of goblin laborers, which aren't worth anything. We could probably send 10 units of goblin laborers and 1 unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons, and the Chaos Warriors obviously would kill them all without too much trouble. But what they're here for is to block the enemy off and allow our Skullcrackers to do the damage, and the same with the blunderbusses and whatnot. So frankly, if we discount the goblin laborers, we're technically even in terms of the number of units in each army. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off with annoying the enemy army with our magma cannons. Of course, the AI will obnoxiously dodge every shot, but occasionally we might be able to clip one or two. This is definitely one of those situations where where the accuracy is not a good thing, as if the 4 different cannons were firing at different portions of the enemy unit, they might be more inclined to actually connect with at least some of the projectiles. And there's definitely situations where I feel it's a little bit warranted to get a less accuracy, maybe. And frankly, the whole dodging artillery thing I have always found a little bit iffy, and generally speaking. I know it's part of the difficulty thing, but whereas I feel like it makes more sense for them to dodge sort of indirect fire projectiles, like mortars and stuff. maybe a little bit less sense to try to dodge all of the direct fire artillery. Not that it's going to matter at the end of the day, I just like to complain. Anyway, the Chaos Warriors of Khorne have suffered maybe 15 to 5% damage depending on the individual unit, but more importantly, they are annoyed now enough to move towards us. And the Infernal Castellan fires away at the Blood Shrine of Khorne, while the projectiles from our magma cannons sail overhead and the Blood Shrine reaches our battle line, if it can so be called, of Gob Laborers, our trash line. And it promptly takes a few volleys from the blunderbusses and loses about 30% of its HP. We try to move close enough to get the Taurus breath out on the enemy, but unfortunately the Furies are screening the enemy advance and do not allow it. Oh well, we got bigger, more important targets anyway, as the blunderbusses immediately switch to that spawn of Khorne, which we slow down with that flash bomb. Minus 50% speed, plus the blunderbuss damage should see the thing nearly destroyed by the time it reaches our battle lines. Speaking of reaching our battle lines, however, the Furies have arrived in numbers, 3 of them touching down upon our ranged units and preventing them from firing, while the Flesh Hounds have arrived over on the right flank. Fortunately, though, against these fragile, fast movers, our Skullcrackers are going to do great work, I'd wager. And both the Furies and the Flesh Hounds should be destroyed rather quickly, with the Skullcrackers working away at them, and once again free up the units of blunderbusses to fire. Alike upon this unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne, who loses about 60% of their HP in damage. The Bull Centaur Torok moves towards the enemy cultist. And for a little bit of axe-on-axe action, but our big boy is probably going to be the better unit here. Actually, their stats, I'd say, are fairly even. The enemy has much higher melee attack. We have solid melee defense. Although we also don't care about our droves of laborers, and we're certainly going to be willing to take a few of them as casualties, just to fire off at the enemy with our blunderbusses. There we go, the Cultist Khorne loses most of his HP into the blunderbuss fire before being brought down. Okay, somebody, maybe he was trampled, maybe he was blunderbussed, but either way, he is dead. With that, the last of the Chaos Warriors of Khorne break, and this quick little fight is ours. I love watching those blunderbusses work. Alrighty, there we go. Fed the enemy a few goblin laborers, but overall no problem at all. One of our Skullcrackers was unfortunately busy with the Flesh Hounds over on the right flank, but still managed to do 5k damage, whereas the other one 10k damage and 90 kills, matching one of the Chaos Dwarf blunderbusses in terms of kill count, but also providing that nice line anchor that is so much needed here. We will occupy the place once again as factory because it has a port. Oh, it does not have a port. Actually, what it does have, though, is wood, so it would still be occupied as a factory. And I guess we gotta build a factory guardhouse here, too. Ugh, I don't like to fortify so much, but, I mean, playing dwarfs have any kind, I guess fortifying does kind of make sense. Fair enough, fair enough. Anyway, Izdubar, you will level up. The question is there anything of particular use that we want? I guess we could grab Flamestorm. Let's do that. Bull Centaur Torok, you have Stalwart Defender, which was the main thing now. We could keep making you tank here, which also is a decent option. Bulgur is okay, but I mean, I guess it's 1 point. Yeah, fine, go. Grab Bulgur, just so I don't have to deal with it again. And then Mr. Nabonidus the Scourger. I guess we can max out increased mobility. It's better to be mobile and all that. The factory. I fear that even with the defenses, though, it's not going to be particularly defensible, so maybe we'll hold off on it for now. Also, we need to be rank 14 to get the Blazing Beards of Bajorak, which is certainly something we'll want to maybe do. You guys can't reach... Oh, you can reach Chakwa from here, can you? Huh, that's interesting. A little bit worried about this guy just getting instantly killed. You know what? Lose this item just in case it happens. But also channel. Otherwise we'll leave. Also you will now be traveling, and much as I'd love to get 2 points in Harsh Masters, since you've got to reach all the way to Wallatal, let's grab you Root Marcher. I gotta go all the way back here after all. Demons from the Sorcerer, you are gonna max out Gehenna's Golden Hounds because it's super useful, and at long last you can grab Metal Shifting, while Gordas starts going through Stickum to get that lovely melee attack and weapon strength. And much as I'd love to replenish troops, we will heal to full in effectively 1 turn anyway, minus the little gobbo laborers, and, well, they don't matter. Alrighty. The rest of that looks good to me, so I do believe we're ready to end the turn. Not thinking much in the way of cash, but, well, we're okay. At least for now. We don't need to upgrade the port because frankly this is also going to be transformed into a factory most likely, as ports are rather useless in outposts, and this factory isn't producing anything, but we need the raw materials more than we need armaments right now, so we'll keep it as it is. You're also switching to billowing smokestacks, which is just fine. You're in billowing smokestacks already, as we've no need to build anything, and you are the same. And we're gonna need more labor. Let's see. Assuming that in 3 turns we will spend 1,000 labor to, well, yeah, 1,000 labor to get the plus 20 public order everywhere. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty costly. Alright, well, we'll start saving up. What about this place? I guess we could upgrade these, but at the same time, maybe we'll want to do it once we get it to be cheaper. Once we take Walletall, because it'll also reduce the time it takes to upgrade these, so yeah. We need more places that wouldn't want to be factories, but nearly every place we find is more factory-coded than anything. Lots of wood in the jungle. Go figure. It's all wood for the furnace, I guess. Alrighty, well, skip, and I believe we're ending the turn. And this will both complete the tech and leave us 1 conclave point short of being able to pick up a new slot. I really want either that Kadai and Fireborn or the other thing. Kadai Fireborn summoning. Fire and Blood, I believe. Also, I just want to maintain this, as I've been saying it from the start. Kadai should really have much more fire resistance. Ghosts, I believe, in SFO have either 75 or 90% physical resistance from ethereal. Kadai should be absolutely the same way in terms of flame damage. The fact that they have only 40% fire resistance is, I don't know, it just seems absolutely silly to me. They should be 75% at minimum. You think your flamethrower is going to hurt a big old lava thing? Okay, anyway. Research technologies. Ooh, Talisman of Preservation and Potion of Healing. Quite nice. If only our faction guy, our faction leader wasn't wounded. Faction guy. Anyway, what do we have next? Now, there is a bunch of good stuff. I believe I wanted the various capacities, though, so we could go to the Future of the Dowie Jar to pick up another Demonsmith Sorcerer, and then just start going up this way towards Conclave Dominance. The other important aspect of this is, wait, is it not on this side? Oh, it isn't here. Wait. There is something somewhere that I thought was important. Damn me if I remember what it was. What if anything looks important here? I mean, okay, admittedly there's a bunch of things that look important, but what looks important right the heck now? Nothing too crazy here. The Gobbo buffs would be nice, but... Astral Architect's Commandment, that's fine. I definitely think that we should start with the Future of the Dowie Jar, though. And yeah, the Malicious Compliance, alright, the plus control, that is important. Higher Quotas Commandment, additional income from refinery buildings will be fine. And great. I feel like there was something else. Maybe it is an industry somewhere. Construction for factories. I'm not sure. Well, we'll keep going the way we're going until I either remember what I was thinking was important or until we stumble upon it. The Tower Patrols thing is not useful to us as yet because we won't have a lot of Tower Patrols up and running. I do like the all convoys get an additional unit, but it's going to take a long time to reach this. Though this is a pretty important line as well to keep buffing up our convoys. Anyway, let's see. Tower of Jar. Wait, we are at 149. Yeah, darn. Alright, fair enough. Gotta pick up that... Oh, it's Hierophant. Oh, Blood and Fireborn is the name of the spell. Okay, fine. Much as I'd like the... Oh, actually no, this is what I was thinking of was important. Conclave influence gain +1 per turn for factory settlement buildings. Since we got a lot of factories, we may as well put it to use. You have taken the blood swamps. And we will probably have to kill you, in fact, no probably about it, but right now we are busy with other things. I would like you, sir, to go right here, and I'm going to wait, assuming that, I mean, we can trespass, but I don't want these guys to immediately attack you. Oh, Shodel got sacked? Oh, interesting. Huh. Alright, I would like to move our armies together for a little bit. Let's move you out here for now. And then we'll jump over here. You guys will rush this way towards Walatal, hopefully before these guys have a chance to recover, though, you know, remains to be seen. Also, you obviously can't do anything here anymore. And I think you will proceed back to Talanshla. The heck? Why would you go like this? Alright, fine. Go into an camp. I don't feel like it. If you want to suffer a tiny bit of attrition, maybe it's fine. I'm actually worried that these guys could move, but also you might get caught if you jump. Alright, you know what? Go this way. Why are you suffering attrition? Is it swampland attrition? Yeah, it's swampland attrition. Okay, just go this way. Not that I really care about this guy surviving, it's just the principle of the thing. Anyway, you two, keep moving towards Quitash and... Really? Really? You're stuck? There you go. Was that so hard? Something's hard. Anyway, I'm so mature. Believe that's all we gotta do for this turn. There's nothing to build. The public order is looking okay for at least a couple more turns. Do we want to collect Amazonian mosquito swamps? This is mosquito swamps. We get nothing out of accepting labor here. And Amazonia similarly. Well, minus the fact that we would want to perhaps transfer labor in order to do the public order stuff, but that's all good. Skip. Let's get that conclave stuff going. Alright, and... oh, damn, these guys are gonna recover fairly nicely by the time we get there. It looks like we're a little bit slow. Maybe we can try to set an ambush and try to catch them before they can do anything. Also, watch Skulltaker come back. Frankly, if the rats start taking Eatson territory, it'll potentially do us a favor. As it will... No trade. It will lengthen the time in which the time that we have, that we don't necessarily have to attack the lizards. We will have to attack the lizards, and the rats, and Chaos, and basically everybody. But we do need time. Anyway, Scheme of Doom, faction destroyed the Great Orthodoxy, darn. Convoy completed, not so darn. And Mountain Tribe, we get an Orc Shaman, wins a magic and cooldown to spells, plus a big ol' Ragnarok Spider for a Reishi Ironbeard. Good for you. You don't get to keep the Shaman though, sir. Sorry. That's this guy. No Shaman for you, but yes to the leveling. So lose the Shaman. Gain the... oh, I'm on another point in hidden stores. Let's grab Wayfinders. Chance of a convoy intercept battle being an ambush. No, thank you. Alrighty. Create new convoy. Obvious. Do you have a level? Yes, indeed you do. We have... I mean, I guess we could go cargo capacity before I'm filling up. But again, I'm gonna say Wayfinders. Just safer. Alrighty, and are you the stronger convoy or the weaker convoy? You're the weaker convoy. Not that you're weak by any means. You got some good stuff. Anyway, we'll add you. Cannon, Goblin favor. Yeah, we've seen plenty of Goblin armies. I mean, I might actually favor this because, I mean, 25 armor and 10 melee attack is fairly strong for Gobs, but since we're using a lot of Gobs in our main stacks, we'll use more Chaos Dwarfs in our Convoy stacks. Makes sense for all that added variety. Anyway, add Master, please. Now, that was, unless I'm mistaken, Grung Zint. So... you know what? Maybe we just sell off some of the armaments and go all the way to Wizard Caliph's Palace. I've been meaning to go there anyway. Why not? Let's sell them off. Start traveling that way. We haven't visited Black Crag either, and we gotta do that. Ooh, I see another island has spawned here, one here, and just two. All right, not enough to set sail as yet, but eventually. Next, what do we have? Okay, let's actually take a look at our buildings for a moment. Wait, did I move this turn? Oh, no, I did not. Okay. Mr. Unzaled, I would like you to go into ambush right here at the edge of this territory, and I would like you to sort of stand here and be bait. Like so. I'm going to hope that... there any reason to actually stay in our own territory? I was just wondering whether we should maybe move a little bit further. Ambush is still 80% here. Yeah, let's move... Wait, actually there is one small reason. It's we get access to the prototype Mega Mortar here, but if the ambush succeeds, it's only a minor little enemy.
Okay.
Marcus Wolfhard, I also do wonder if you're coming this way, but anyway, let's go... Oh! You could actually foil our ambush by moving close to us, huh? Well, it is what it is. Go here. Go here. And... I was hoping you can raid, but all good. Grab Inspiring Presence for yourself, though, so that you can channel. And the rest of you are good. Ukani, go into Talantula.
Very well.
Minus 50, yeah, he doesn't like us very much. Really? We basically destroyed the Blooded Wanderers, your one and only enemy right now, and we only get a +2 with you? I mean, we were gonna kill you anyway, and, you know, maybe get your defeat rate multiple times, but, you still disappoint me. Chakwa. Now, Chakwa is, well, I wouldn't really call it reasonably well defended. Could use some of the upgrades there. And you, I take it, are running from the lizards. Okay, we'll ignore that situation right now. Let's move you into Chakwa. Building-wise and control-wise, I don't think there's anything critical because we are still looking to save as much of the raw materials as possible. But we do have a decent amount of factories now. Factories, funnily enough, are also upgraded by... raw materials, but anyway. But we do have enough to grab the factory thing. Conclave influence +1 per turn for factory settlement buildings. Yes. And the reason we get this over Blood and Fireborn first is because it'll allow us to more quickly get Blood and Fireborn. That adds a +6 to our Conclave influence per turn. And the tower from this place will get another, what, 5? Yes. Alright, every tower will be good. Frankly, this is another tower that we'll want to grab, but... I mean, just looking at the defenders, we're gonna need a little bit more in the way of units in order to do it. Anyway, diplomacy check. No new trade agreement. Rotor of the Dawn will unfortunately, by the looks of it, be destroyed. Clan Spittle wants to be friends. Looks like they're having a bad time against the lizards, but it's not our problem. No peace, only war. And it looks like that's all we got. Alright, fine, fair enough. Let us skip our way through the rest of this, and let us end the turn. See if any of this works out, or if Marcus Wolfhard shows up and gets killed. This ambush did work out. Oh, that was one reason to stay in our own territory, because this will presumably slightly hurt our army. Actually, not really. Only the cutthroats. I don't really care about them. We'll take the 1,000 money for this. Lovely. And Colonel Stair is going to be the defender there. Now let's see where Wolfhard goes. Yeah, that's too tempting a target, Wolfhard. You shouldn't have done that, buddy. Yeah. I'm hopeful what we can do, and hope this doesn't... I hope this actually works out, is we kill Marcus and his faction real quick after this, and then actually trade his territories to the Jade Court for an alliance with them. Maybe it'll work out. What is this? Signs of a troop column have been spotted ahead. Judging by the tracks, it looks as though this force has been moving without sleep or pause. Cresting the next hill, the gleam of bone and gold can be seen throughout the army. A host of Tomb Kings, richly adorned, is marching through this area. Their destination is unclear, but their opulence is not. We could descend upon them and claim their riches for ourselves. So, free cargo. And a fight against Tomb Kings? I'm gonna say yes. These their treasures. Posh something indeed, my friend. Posh something indeed. Here we go. We've got another one of these convoy battles against the foe we've not yet fought, the Tomb Kings, and we should have some fun against them, including with a soul grinder of Tzeentch. These magical javelin-chucking units make for fantastic snipers, and the enemy that we will be sniping here is the enemy Tomb King, who has lost about 20% of his HP over the, I want to say, 1 or 2 volleys that he's taken. We chuck a few javelins his way and then we back off so that the enemy artillery does not fire upon us, but in the meantime we'll position some of our fast movers, the Vargulf and the Man-Eaters namely, to get ready to charge that artillery piece, while we back off the slower elements of our army, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors and the Infernal Ironsworn so that they don't take those Screaming Skulls. And in the meantime, continue firing off javelins at this Tomb King. Alrighty, and he's down to half HP. Pretty solid before the battle has engaged or begun. The Vargulf will charge a unit of skeleton archers, not actually to attack them, but to annoy them and prevent them from firing their projectiles at the man-eaters, who will close the distance with them instead, while the Vargulf goes after the artillery crew. I was hoping that with its charge and it's directly attacking the artillery piece, that it would be able to, kill it, but oh god. What can you do? In the meantime, the first of the enemies have arrived, and while a few of the naphtha bombs unfortunately clip our own Soul Grinder, then the rest of them fly into the enemy unit, or units I should say, of Skeleton Warriors and the Hekar Warriors. And after we're done with that, on top of this, oil slick, the Infernal Ironsworn will engage the Skeleton Warriors. Oh, that's a pretty great shot. Skeletal Warriors fighting the Chaos Dwarfs on their own terrain, and with those Screaming Skulls coming down upon our units as well. Isn't it lovely? I've always loved fighting in the Darklands because of all of these Chaos Dwarf territories just looking fantastic. Just love the whole sort of dirty industrial aesthetic that they've got going. It really does it for me. Anyway, the Nehekaran warriors here are crumbling against the Ironsworn, and the others are as well, the Ironsworn having taken comparatively little damage. The enemy does attempt to close the distance with a unit of Ushabti, but we pin it with the Feral Mammoth and then promptly obliterate it with both units of the blunderbusses. Also, it is such a breath of fresh air to have a great color scheme. After Consultan's poor faction got screwed by that disgusting green color scheme, which again would work fantastically well for Nurgle, but is terrible for Kislev. It's just great to see a good color scheme. And we reload, and then we fire. There we go. Also, you gotta admit, the Chaos Dwarf faction, they've got so many entertaining units that to watch. The balance of power has shifted to about 70% in our favor at this point. The enemy lord assassinated by that javelin-chucking Soul Grinder. The artillery actually still has 3 out of its 4 units, despite the attention of the Vargulf. But at least the Vargulf is killing them as well as the unit of Skeleton Warriors pinning it in place. Now, the Feral Mammoth has taken some damage as it is fighting some spear units. And the blunderbusses that they close the distance with are admittedly taking a while to dish out damage to them, perhaps unsurprisingly, with the Soul Realm, or the Realm of Souls, healing them up. And I believe that's either a Tier 2 or a Tier 3. There should be Ushabti on the way sooner rather than later. In the meantime, our fast movers, i.e. our man-eaters, have taken out or severely damaged 1 unit of skeleton archers, and now that the Feral Mammoth is damaged enough and rampaging, we're actually going to move in to help by rear-charging those skeleton spears. The other unit of, I keep wanting to say Granite Guard blunderbusses, we don't have the Granite Guard yet, but we will. We will. Continue firing away at the enemy skeleton archers. And our Vargulf will have to return to that artillery piece, which is once again firing, though by the looks of it, not the most accurate. I should have said that. Well, still not the most accurate, but nonetheless. Alright, Vargulf, you gotta get that thing to stop firing. And there we go, the Ushabti are on field at last, and it looks like this time they appear amongst the Infernal Ironsworn, with the big armor-piercing and splash damage that the Ushabti have. Plus their anti-infantry capabilities, they should be able to actually start damaging the Infernal Ironsworn, which dropped from a mere 5% HP loss to those Nehekaran warriors to about 25 to 30% loss to the Ushabti. Or rather, promptly. So, the Man-Eaters will move in to reinforce. The Mammoth will charge these Ushabti like it did the other Ushabti. And as more units move in, we should be able to withdraw these now damaged Infernal Ironsworn just to prevent them from taking additional losses. The Vargulf, by the looks of it, has at last destroyed the last of the enemy artillery pieces over in the background. Our Soul Grinder is now fighting in melee just to make sure that those skeleton archers are no longer firing. And we're up to 57 kills and 13,000 damage, pretty solid. There we go, and we got some Zinchen fires on. No warp flame on your attacks, eh? That's kind of surprising, considering you seem to do some warp flame attacks, but you don't have a contact effect. Not that it's a big deal, mind you. Anyway, the skeleton spears that were protecting the artillery piece and annoying the Vargulf are still attempting to close the distance, but with 2 blunderbusses firing into their flanks, and not a lot of them will survive. There we go. And the rest of our units have surrounded the Ushabti, who are down to the last 3, the souls animating these statues. Believe, and with that, the statues topple, and the battle is ours. Lovely. Gotta love these convoy battles, and surely hoping for plenty more. Alright, there we go. A very nice fight against the Tomb Kings there, and a solid little bit of divide and conquer, plus every single one of our units got plenty of damage, plenty of kills, and just generally speaking, plenty of work throughout the battle. Great work out of the Soul Grinder of Tzeentch in particular for taking out the enemy Lord and then just being a menace. The Naphtha bombs coming out of the Infernal Ironsworn were great. The Man-Eaters using their mobility to harass the enemy backline, together with the Vargulf, and the Feral Mammoth not getting a lot of kills, but delivering plenty of damage dealt as it was working against the 2 units of Ushabti, summoned and unsummoned alike. We could heal to full. We're not so damaged though, and I'm thinking that we take the labor instead. Alright, enemy killed in battle, a scroll of power for Harok Morgrimaz, who's that? And Tower of Jar. Claimed tower. Oh. Claimed the tower seat, and you've claimed it here. Really? Nobody's gonna claim this? To give everybody immediately causes wall breaches? Random weapon or armor every 3 turns isn't bad, game. Come on. And they are getting the increased capacity. I do want that Blood and Fireborn. Let's say there's a lot of good stuff here. I'm tempted to grab this just for the wall breaches, but I'll think about it. I was hoping that the AI would do it anyway. Mr. Marcus Wolfhard, buddy. Oh, buddy, old pal. I am tremendously not sorry about this, but you can have Harsh Master. There we go. And that puts this army down to a cheap 1519. Very nice. You can reinforce in regular stance, and I should probably get you some spells that you can help out. Not sure what kind of army you're going to have, but you will have an army eventually. I would also like to check Overseers. Nope, no new considered lord. Come on, game, come on. We need more considered lords. Also, what are we at here? 2.5k raw materials. Does that mean we can upgrade anywhere? We could save until we can upgrade the Zarmuta Triangle. There's potential for that. Or we could upgrade one of the tier... Wait. Do we not have a tier 1 location? Yes, we do. Shalanmapek. Although without blood swamps, we wouldn't be able to reduce the cost. Also, these guys, not the most friendly with us, but I think they're still going to be dealing with the lizards by the looks of it. So we'll hold off on dealing with them. I think we upgrade Shalanmapek and just hope that it doesn't immediately gets attacked, because it's, well, pretty poorly defended for now. Alrighty. And also, do we need the public order here? Actually, you're fine for now. You're not going to be collecting labor, so you're... Public order won't be reduced. We also should park a lord in Ganaina. I was hoping to do that with our, faction lord, but oh well. With Hellbeard. You. Oh, you're currently allied with the Jade Court. Oh, fricking heck. That's not good. It's not what I wanted. I don't want to fight the Jade Court. Much as they'll hate us for killing you, we could potentially ally with them. You've gotten the... Oh, you guys are being pressed by the deserters of Katep as well. That's kind of interesting. You are not liking strategic threat. I wonder. We could temporarily peace out with Khorne in order to declare war on these guys without having the others join in. It would allow these guys to recover a little bit, but it would give us A, money, and B, maybe some time to... Maybe it's the best way to do it. Alright, I'm gonna say do this then. Again, I don't want to fight the Jade Court. There are some Cathan units I think that would do nicely in our faction, and I don't think... Oh wait, does Spectre Zuma have gems? Oh damn, I wish I remembered. Wait, in March stance, go halfway there. Wait, I want to see Spectre Zuma. Yes, it does have gems, which does what for us? Income from gem and gold mines plus 15% to reach all regions and yeah, thanks. And raw materials 225 per turn. Cost again, but a lot of money made out of that thing. Plus public order. I was just wondering whether we could trade it to them. I suppose we could instead trade them the Slaneshi territories by wiping these guys out. What does pasture do for us? Recruitment costs, ooh, upkeep faction-wide rushing. Damn, well, there's gonna be good trade goods everywhere. These guys, not the most happy with us, and will be even more unhappy if we wipe these guys out. But I fear that if we can't trade them Spectre Zuma, maybe we should forego the gems for the Alliance. I'll have to think about it. Or we could ignore them both for now and wipe out these guys for good. Khorne is something of an issue for us. What's the likelihood that these guys would be willing to peace out quickly? I don't really want them sending all of their armies towards us, especially if they have other armies down here. And this is clearly not their main stack since Yanbo isn't there. Yeah, I think the safer option would be to deal with that first and not fight a war on too many fronts as we can't afford to. So, we'll peace out with Skulltaker, and we will also... wait. Join your war against the HUNTSMARSHAL's expedition? Wait, more money. Like so. And then we'll come back and kill you later. I just would have loved to do it now. Alright, like this. This puts us at war with these guys without putting us at war with those guys, making sense to me. You are going to now attack Marcus. Yes. And all that artillery. It ain't helping. He's only got one of his hunters as well, so that's unfortunate for him. We are damaged, admittedly, so the enemy still has a chance, but not much of one. Go. Alrighty, here we go, and I did not check the battle preview, but it looks like Marcus Wolfheart's army is deployed in a frickin' choke point, which is not good for us. It would normally be very good for Chaos Dwarfs, generally speaking, but this particular army is our Hobgob army, and they do not want to be in a choke point. But what can you do? Just gonna have to deal with it, so here we go. To start off, we're gonna drop a few spells, Gehenna's Golden Hounds and the Searing Doom to herald the arrival of the rest of our army. Gordas is going to move on in as well, summoning a unit of Hobgob Cutthroats behind the enemy army to cut down the mortar crews and then annoy the crossbows as soon as he can. In the meantime, we send in the other 2 units of Cutthroats that we have together with the Laborers to lock down as many of the enemy as possible over on the left flank rather, whereas over on the right is where we deploy all of our Hobgob Sneaky Gits, obviously in stock until now, and provide support with the Oglikons, Wolf Boys, and the other units. There we go, charging, ignoring the enemy infantry to close the distance with the enemy cannons and make sure that those crews are tied up, and the crossbows behind them as well, while the Sneaky gets close the distance in droves. Lovely. Alright, now we gotta silence the other 2 artillery pieces as well as the enemy archers. Fortunately, Gehenna's Golden Hounds comes up once again. We drop them upon them, clipping a unit of knights as well, which is going to be quite helpful as they've been rather annoying so far. As have the enemy heroes, just by virtue of their existence, though this guy ain't doing a lot of damage. He's gonna be doing 0 as soon as one more volley from the archers hits him. And that does not look like a pleasant day for Hedwig van Hal. Down he goes, can't even spot his body and all that, just see his pistol and his blade fly away. In the meantime, Gordas has closed the distance with Marcus Wolfheart, who's actually fairly decent in melee by the looks of it, with 57 on his stats, but his armor is low, and I imagine his HP at only 5,000 is pretty low as well. Granted, Gordas is about the same way, but he should be more capable in melee. Or at least a reasonably capable in melee. I could just select Gortys, please. Yeah, oh, actually 4.75k HP on Gortys. Again, pretty darn fragile. Skulltaker, I believe we saw at 9,000, but it's incomparable to units like, I don't know, like Tamarkan and Kugath will all hover around, I don't know, 15 to 20,000. But I digress. Not important, as Wolfheart is not surviving this one. His army is pretty tremendously damaged. And though he had the choke point to rely upon, he did not have his army in good shape. Partly damaged from traveling through the swamplands and, well, by the looks of it, being caught in the swamplands as well, and partly by virtue of the fact that he was in March Stance, which, as we know, is a tremendously big debuff in SFO. And I guess we've been fairly opportunistic with the Hobgob army, which, you know, lawfully accurate, considering we caught now both Wolfheart and Skulltaker in ambush stance, or in march stance, and both in with a sudden war declaration to capitalize on it. But anyway, with that, the enemy army shatters, the battle is ours, and every single unit will be destroyed by virtue of them being in march stance. Alright, there we go. Very nice. I would have loved to have picked up his defeat trait multiple times, but I fear that we might not be able to. And that was very fun. Anyway, the choke point did give the enemy a little bit more of an advantage than we were originally anticipating, but it looks like we're okay. We can get more value out of the labor than we can out of the money directly, so we will take the labor, and I guess we can actually use it to sell some of it off. A Razor Standard, very nice pickup, and yeah, missile strength for the army, range for army, and missile resistance. Frankly, the range and missile strength on the and these guys will be quite nice. In fact, any of our armies really could really use this. Now, how do you feel about this? Not good. Not good. War with the HUNTSMARSHAL minus 36. Another Dwemer Leech Orb. That's the third one we've got? Huh. The game really wants us to have a Dwemer Leech Orbs. Well, interesting, but... Ah, you know what I should have done? I should have had a Harrock attack. Well, no, then he would have gotten the defeat trait, and I think I wanted Rugni to get it. Yeah. Huh, I wonder, does that increase the range of the precursor weapons? Huh. That's not something I ever considered, sort of, maximizing. I wonder, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be within this particular faction, but I wonder whether we can get some precursor weapon of some faction to go up to like 200 range for some ridiculousness. There's something embarrassed thinking about. Anyway, since we pieced out with these guys, albeit most likely temporarily, in fact, no, most likely about it, we have to move this way. I take it we would want to suffer the turn of attrition. Actually, wait a moment. Would you be able to... You've already moved this turn? When did I move you? Well, that's unfortunate. Have I moved you this turn? No. Alright, you're gonna go to RuinusInsight. It's gonna cost us a little bit of gold, but we can prevent the attrition by swapping the units to this other army. And then you can return to Talanshla. Alright, looks good to me. Also, if the alliance with these Cathans fails, because they're not super fond of all this, we could also ally with other Cathans elsewhere, presuming they survive the tide of chaos, which, again, remains to be seen, but, well, see we shall. Anyway, see we shall, because we're the pirate... Anyway, let's see what we've got other than the hero moving. We got no new capacities as of yet. I did say we should probably sell off a little bit of our cash, so let's sell the labor here before we go to the public orders. So sell it here, and I believe those are the only places. Oh wait, no, Guanji Valley is also collecting labor for Quitash. I guess we upgrade the Overseer's Tower, or at least these two then. Yeah, alright, it's gonna be a little bit more costly and it's gonna take longer, but since we are no longer taking Wallatal to reduce the time, it has to be done now. I'm tempted to also upgrade the Overseer's Tower here. Yeah, but then again... probably not worth it, eh? Yeah. Alright, we'll leave it alone for now. Alright, diplomacy check real quick. Anything interesting happen while we've been doing stuff? Doesn't look like it. near to defensive alliance with Sharktooth, but it's Goldtooth that I'm much more interested in. Would you do it for us joining your war against Karak-Azorn? And 15,000 gold. While that feels appropriate for Goldtooth, that's not happening. On the bright side, him being friends with the Caravan of Blue Roses is actually quite nice. Because then Goldtooth doesn't get wiped out by them, and I'd like him to stay alive so that we could potentially get his units later on. Alrighty, and Izdubar, you were going this way in case we needed to attack multiple enemies at once, and because there's some units that will eventually need to be traded. Go to Quitash for now. Provide a little bit of extra public order there while you're at it. We could also invest in the factory walls at Chakwa, but once again, if the lizards attack it with a full stack, it won't help. It just won't matter. And frankly, both of these lizards will eventually inevitably declare war on us, so I'd rather just not invest in it much more than we've already had. Than we already have. Anyway, skip, and end the turn. We do have a decent little bit of money to ourselves right now. Oh, on the bright side, with the Skull Taker reviving out of Wallatal, we'll be able to get his defeat trait again. And, well, last time we got it on our faction lord, and now I'm trying to remember whether it was a good one. Oh, well. And I was actually kind of hoping that we could peace out with Wolfheart immediately and then head down to the lizards, but if that's not the case, it's not the case. I don't know if I could take the Monument of Itzatal and then give it back to them for peace. Rather than completely wiping them out, because, again, pretty much any of our armies could really use that defeat trait. What is this? The Path of Fire enables attrition for this army for 3 turns. No, stick to the road. Faction destroyed Zufbar and the Chosen, and Plague Spreading Reduction, and there's that capacity for the Demonsmith Sorcerers. Still no peace? Still no peace. Connie can in fact reach you. I take it you cannot, but you could probably move in to reinforce. Yeah, by the looks of it you can. What about Rugni, the guy who's actually in command of this army? I mean, I guess we could use him to move him into Leech XP. Alright, so, Monument of Itzatal. We'll send Ikani in to besiege it. Maybe we... Oh, block army. Oh, that's why you can't. Yeah. Huh, wait, he blocked the guy that's by himself? That's kind of funny. Then you, Mr. By Himself, go here. By yourself. And then you... Okay, wait, actually, don't... No, stop. I don't want him to get in the way of the actual army, because we do want them to actually reinforce, so we'll prioritize getting you in there. She giggle. Like so, and then you can move here. And both of you should be able to reinforce. Beautiful. And Pyrrhic Victory. Really? Okay. I mean, I guess it is a lot of manlings, but it's not strong manlings, so I'm not so sure about that one game. You can keep approaching. You cannot reach Talantula like this or like this, so just move. Move as best you can. We may not even need you up here.
Be still. The Dragon Emperor's eye is upon you.
Not the New World colonies. HUNTSMARSHAL's Expedition 0. It's not exactly what I wanted because... Huh. That's interesting. Break non-aggression pact? They don't have a non-aggression pact. Is this being buggy, or does he genuinely want to betray them because they're weak? Maybe they do. Might do this. Huh. On military access. I can't... Sometimes I don't know whether this is a bug or not, because sometimes it allows us and sometimes it doesn't. Alright, do it anyway.
Acceptable.
Alrighty, then he will be... Yeah, broken treaties minus 61, so hopefully they break the treaties with each other. And then if they become very much not friends anymore, then hopefully these guys won't hate us anymore. Yes, wait, they still have a military access. What? I thought I broke... What?
Celestials' deadly wrath.
Did I do that with the wrong faction? Okay, well, whatever. Alright, now they have no agreements with each other. I did not want to do anything with New World colonies, and ooh, you're allied with Heshwatla. 0 again? Okay, I fear that might actually be a bug. Alright, next time maybe we'll transfer them a territory in order to break the agreement with the lizards, because the lizards will never be our friends because of the massive 100 aversion. Frankly, the same is true of the regular dwarfs, but we can counteract that by giving them enough territory, whereas we can only do that with so many factions, essentially. Yeah. Anyway, this. Quick victory, casualties high. Ego. Is this a minor settlement? No, it's a field battle. Alright. Ooh, I love that lizardman temple in the background, just over everything, and the sort of cliffside slash plateau that it is built upon, and we see the sort of lizardman towers up there as well. Definitely one of the most sort of cinematic maps we've got here. That's beautiful. Always got to take the opportunity to take a nice look at these maps. And especially with the sort of foggy slash cloudy stuff that we got going on up on that plateau as well. Huh, and we got clouds rolling in as well. Neat stuff. Anyway, had to talk about something because we were waiting for our reinforcements to arrive. Should I have sped it up while doing so? Yes. Why didn't I do that? Shut up. The rest of the battle will proceed apace shortly, however, as we move our units in and get ready to fight. As usual, we'll send all of our units of sneaky gits to annoy the enemy in stock and smash into their flanks as soon as we're ready. Alright, just gotta move everybody up, and you gotta admit, this is looking like it's gonna be a pretty big fight with all of the, well, with the sheer amount of units that the enemy has. Anyway, we're gonna draw first blood by sending in our Demonsmith Sorcerer of Metal, Hergar Startaker. Startaker, eh? Seems like a rather storied name for some rando. Frankly, I suppose the same can be said of Hellbeard. But anyway, looks like just as he just gets slightly closer, the enemy is annoyed at that and starts moving towards us. We're going to quickly overcast the Gehenna's Golden Hounds into the midst of one or two of their units, destroying a Free Company militia, which admittedly in the hands of the AI isn't all that much of a threat, but they're one of my favorite units, so, well, gotta knock them out. Anyway, and now it's time for the rest of the battle to start. We're going to send our droves of laborers at the enemy to eat fire, and Gordas as well, to close the distance and summon his first unit of Hobgob Cutthroats. Frankly, I should have summoned the other one while we were waiting, and did not do so, but no. The main thing I wanted to do here was summon the Cutthroats around that war wagon unit and just pin them in place so that we can fire upon them with our artillery. Gordas, however, takes a fair few shots from those war wagons, losing about half of his HP for his trouble. War wagons are absolutely nasty units in SFO and just do fantastic at sniping single entities. Anyway, the Sneaky Gits will lead the charge over on the left flank, suddenly appearing amongst the enemy and obliterating a unit of Pistoliers, while closing the distance with crossbowmen, halberdiers, swordsmen, what have you, tying them down and starting to tear their way through them. Our artillery are all firing away at the war wagons, who have lost about half of their HP, but by the looks of it, will continue sniping our lords, so we have to be careful. Our piles of laborers have now arrived and are distracting the enemy blobs of units. The knights have also charged through them, but we charge them back with our own, well, sort of equivalent, I suppose, as the Oglacon's Wolf Boys close the distance and engage their anti-large. I'm sure they'll take some damage against the heavily armored Empire Knights. Still not a great unit, but a lot better in SFO than vanilla. And then we'll back off to make sure that we don't take too much more, though the knights are down to about 40% of their HP. Our range units are engaged in a little bit of a duel between the enemy range units, though by the looks of it, the range units of the enemy are firing upon our melee line, whereas our range units are obliterating theirs, so that works in our favor. Most of the enemy main line, however, is distracted, fighting our piles of garbage laborers, and once again, it works nicely for us. See, I feel like if the regular greenskins get the Wah mechanic. Shouldn't we get like a Chaos Dwarf WA that just puts a bunch of laborers in our army? I feel like there's several factions that should have that similar mechanic. I've been talking about this from the start. Like Skaven should have it with Skaven slaves, and Undead should have it with zombies, and well, I guess skeleton warriors as well. Especially since the game makes it so tough to activate the Realm of Souls for the Tomb Kings if you're actually doing well, so it's just like, okay, great, never get any healing. And their healing is already kind of trash compared to the vampire camps. But I digress. Looks like our Sorcerer Prophet is surrounded by some halberdiers. Got to be careful about that, as they are armor-piercing, but hopefully they'll be overrun in short order, as the Sneaky Gits have arrived to cut them down and stab them in the back. And just like Mr. Backstabber, the bounce power has shifted to about 80% in our favor, though a couple of our units are withdrawing, and they're going to force our cavalry to charge the enemy to cover their escape. Searing Doom will come down to the biggest blob of enemies that remains, clipping 2 units of infantry, a unit of swordsmen and halberds. And also, if you were wondering where the enemy lord and hero were, or the 2 lords were, enemy captain from the garrison here, being distracted by a unit of cutthroats this entire time, and the Archlector is here, being distracted by the Sneaky Gits. Unfortunately for the Archlector, because he doesn't have his abilities, he wouldn't be able to mince infantry, and being kept away from the main battle line made sure that the enemy army routed faster and gave the battle to us. Great fight with massive numbers of troops all over, and, well, a great win once again for one of our lords. Alright, there we go, and hey, we got the Hobgoblin standard for the Hobgoblin army. Makes sense. Great battle to round out the episode, I think, with lots and lots of basic troops facing off against lots and lots of basic troops, and ours obviously taking home the prize with 30,000 damage on the best performing units of Sneaky Gits. Gotta love that bleed and lethal poison combination, plus the fact that we have them leveled up pretty darn nicely. We will, I think, actually occupy this as a factory. In theory, I wanted to occupy this as an outpost, but if we end up trading this location, then it would be worth more as a factory, because I believe we can build 2 military structures there rather than the one in the outpost, much as I do want the additional trade goods. Yeah, factory. Alrighty, and then just out of curiosity, did you keep... Okay, you kept one... Whoa, okay, no weapons workshop. No, that's tremendously bad. Ukani, you don't need the Hobgoblin standard, that is... Iron Blade? Yeah, hold on to it. That is for you, sir. Hobgob standard. Also, do we have Hobgob regiments of renown other than the Oglakan's Wolf Boys? Looks like we do not. Alright, that's fine. We can put it on the Oglakan's Wolf Boys, I suppose. Before we had the Lichbone Pennant on them, but frankly, we're not going to keep the Lichbone Pennant on them, let's face it. But anyway, I would, out of curiosity... Ah, damn, I was hoping that the Monument to Vitzatal would be close enough to them to ask if you'd be willing to trade, but alas, not so much, at least not right now. Actually, another thing about keeping these guys alive is that I like this. Moving through our territories. Granted, we don't care about most of them, only the towers, really, and... well, the places that are collecting the mine shafts. We'll see. Anyway, you guys are fine where you are. Presumably you can't take this without attacking both of those guys, which would be just fine. And much as I'd like to end the turn, we're out of time, so I think I am going to have to call this episode here. Next time I'll probably sell off a little bit more of our surplus labor, or maybe even buy some extra conclave influence. Though at this point, 200 labor for 10 influence might not be as worth it as it once was. And get a little bit more public, or get a little bit more money and then switch it out to public order. I think we are getting slowly ready to start recruiting more units, which also might mean we'll have to switch a few of the raw material territories to not just generate armaments, but also to generate money via raw materials and via the gold refineries. Granted, it's somewhat not worth it. I mean, it is a fair trade, 300 for 750, but via the outposts we can make a decent little bit of income for free. and the same thing out of the towers via the donation barrels. So maybe we just start upgrading the donation barrels. I will think about it, just to preserve as much raw materials as possible and upgrade the towers to whatever degree possible. As for whether we wipe these guys out, they still don't want peace, interestingly enough. So we might have to let them go, despite the fact that they have one of the best defeat traits for our entire faction. Funnily enough, the other one is for defeating Zatan, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's a little bit far. And yeah, I know that we're fighting Order factions. We're fighting Chaos and Order faction, and we'll be fighting pretty much everybody but the regular Dwarfs. I mean, we'll have to make our way down to the Mine of the Bearded Skulls to... Wait, are you at war with Clan Pestilence? Yes, you are. Alright, well, if they overrun you, that's fine. Let's keep you distracted while we deal with our own stuff up here. We'll also have to turn on the Slaneshi soon, so I gotta be prepared for it. Anyway, more Hellbeard to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.